Okay, now we're into the 1996-97 Suffern High School wrestling team. And I got to say, one of the things that we really love to do is the coordination of some of the things that we've done over the years. Here's a case where we're honoring the coach and the team, and we've also done this in the past as well. So we're always looking to coordinate and so on, and I think it's worked out really great. So one of the things that I wanted to point out, if you look at page 27 of the journal, Andy Gross was a journal news reporter, and he summed up the team, this is the team, with flying colors. He called it the Suffern Pins Down Best Year, and that obviously is the case. They were RC PSAL champions with a 10-0 record with 5 Section 1 individual champions and 3 New York State winners. Alan Veltiti will make introductory remarks and turn it over to Andy Guccione, the Suffern Athletic Director, who will speak on behalf of the team and introduce the wrestlers. Without further ado, please welcome Alan.
Thank you, Pete. Yeah, how do you follow Billy White? Hey. A couple of things while I'm up here. There's a couple of people sitting here. John Lorenzi's sitting over there. All right? Still doing it. Also, there's Larry Beckley over there. Somebody forgot to say hi to Larry. He's Albertus, but we kind of claim him in Nanuet. And then there's John Moyer. Who is it, 1964 Section 9 champion wrestling, Suffern? Great guy. Anyway, I have notes. And they tell me that this team, like no other, had 2 state champions on it. Actually, they accounted for 4 state champions. They had 3 Cole champions, 2 Fulton champions, a MacArthur 3 champions, Brandon 3 champions, Division I 13 champions, Section 1 11 champions. That's like 56 times a Suffern wrestler stood on the number 1 of the podium in 1 year. That's incredible. It's unheard of. They had 476 individual wrestling matches. They won 71% of those. That means if there was 10 matches, they won 7. Coaches would try to, and you know every wrestling coach would change. You know, you wrestle 130 pounds. Guess what? Tomorrow you're wrestling 123. We got to get you down because, like was explained to you about Mickey, you stay off your back. And maybe we'll get points. Well, guess what? Against this team, it didn't work. No matter what wrestling coach was going against Suffern, how many times they moved their people around, they still lost by 40 points. My God, unbelievable. So, last one of the night, you guys got me, but I'm giving you Andy Guccione.
Thank you. Okay, I want to thank Mr. White for staying with the game plan and keeping it brief. So, all the kind words about Mickey, about how unathletic he was, and but I will say, like Mr. White, for example, I worked at Salzburg Pool. Mr. White, as did a number of people in here, including Mickey Desimone. I learned a lot of valuable lessons from Mr. White. I learned how to water Mr. White's plants. I learned how to mow his lawn. I learned how to paint his front door. But I think the most valuable lesson I learned from Mr. White as I came into being an athletic director is to perform in a supervisory role at a workplace without actually being at the workplace to supervise anyone. And I thought that was a pretty good lesson that I learned from Mr. White going back to Salzburg Pool. So thank you. I was tasked with speaking in part for the assistant coaches because we have plaques up here, but Mr. White spoke very eloquently on each one, so I'm going to keep this very short. Our first plaque we have here goes to, he was a Section 1 champion. He wrestled for my father back in the 1960s. He's been an assistant coach since probably 1966, I believe, up until this day, where you can still find him in the wrestling room helping out with practice. Please welcome John Wallach. Okay, our next assistant coach, if I could describe him one word, it would be heart. Billy Wilson is all heart. And for the guys that are in this room that wrestled for Billy Wilson, when things were tough or Mickey or Fark were coming down hard on you and things aren't going well, he was the perfect guy to pull you aside and build you back up. He made you love the sport like no one else could, and he's still to this day an invaluable part of the program. Billy Wilson. Our next assistant coach has already been spoken about as well, Bob Veltiti, founding father, basically, of the Suffern Sports Hall of Fame, a member of the Suffern Sports Hall of Fame, a member of the Rockland Sports Hall of Fame, big contributor for many, many years. If you've been involved in Rockland County sports for the last 30, 40 years, you know who Bob Veltiti is. He's on the mic at the George Fuge Pee Wee Wrestling tournaments. He's on the mic at the Section 1 wrestling tournaments. He's one of the most recognizable faces in Section 1 in the past 50 years. So we have a plaque here for Bob Veltiti. Could either Judy and or Doug come on up to get the plaque, please? And my mistake, Sally Veltiti, his daughter, is also here. My apologies, Sally. Okay, and then our last plaque. So Coach Farquharson was nice enough to fly in from Colorado to be with us this weekend. We're excited that he came. Another one, very much like Coach Wilson, great at building everybody back up. Definitely a friendly face anytime you walk into the Suffern wrestling room or you go to the Cole tournament, even after he retired. He was always around. He was always supportive. Definitely somebody you felt you could lean on when you were going through a tough time. Also an outstanding technician in wrestling. Great with taking kids aside, kids like me, maybe kids that didn't have as much talent, and working with them to help them find a good way to succeed. And he was great like that. So Coach Bob Farquharson. Okay, on to the team. So I'm going to list out some names here, some that have already been mentioned. Sheffield, Fuge, Guccione, White, Desmond, Mattiotti, Canty, and now Paul Lublaneski. This is the run of varsity wrestling coaches that goes back to the 1940s. With those coaches, going back to 1952 when the Section tournament began, Suffern Wrestling has accounted for 27 Section 1 titles. 52 Rockland County championships going back to 1943. So when you pick one team out from that, it just really speaks to how strong this team really must be, because it's just an unbelievable line of coaching, an unbelievable line of athletes, and really it's been an amazing thing to be a part of, I think, for all the people in this room that have been a part of it. And this team really epitomizes dominance. And I know Mr. Veltiti went over some stats. I'm not going to go over a whole lot, but I will say They had 7 first-team All-County. That was, I believe back then there were only 13 weight classes. So 7 county champs that had 13 weight classes. 3 second-team All-County. 5 Section 1 champions. So 5 guys went to compete for the states. Now remember, if you follow wrestling now, you may know that we have a Division I and a Division II. Back then it was 1 division, 50 teams. So that means that we had 5 section champs. They were the best in their weight out of 50 teams. Think about that. Very dominant. 3 all-state wrestlers, of course, the 2 state champions, Griff Powell, Chad Carrolls, and then Kyle Farrison, who finished 3rd. The Brandon, Florida thing. Okay, so they went down and they competed down in Brandon, Florida. They tried to get Brandon, Florida to wrestle us in a duel. Brandon, Florida was, quote unquote, #1 in the nation, and they declined the invitation. They didn't want to wrestle this team. And again, just speaks to the reputation they had, the dominance they had, and just, from a program that's had this kind of success, to pick this one out, you just know how good they really must have been. So now, what I'd like to do is I'm going to call each one when you get called. If you could just come up, Mr. Veltiti, are you still with me? Okay, so their plaques are right here. Okay, so Mr. Veltiti will hand you your plaque, and then you'll just line up right here. Okay, so we have a line of you by the time we're done. As you come up, I'll say a couple words about each wrestler that's here. Okay, so first, this is alphabetical order. Mario Gomez. Mario was 2-time first-team All-County, 2-time All-Section, and on a side note, his brother Brian, who's also here, was a 2-time All-State wrestler. But Mario Gomez, please. Okay, our next wrestler, Danny Horton. Danny Horton was also an all-section wrestler. In '97, he suffered an injury and wasn't able to complete the entire season, but had a heck of a career for Suffern. He was, I believe, a sophomore in '97. All right, and senior year finished as an all-section wrestler. Jim Horton. Jim was an all-section wrestler. He was also an all-league football player, and he currently teaches and coaches football at Newburgh Academy. Put your hands together for Jim Horton. Chris Mason. Chris was a 3-time all-section wrestler. He was a 2-time Section 1 champion, and he was also an all-league football player. Chris Mason. Steve Pregiato. Steve was team captain of the '97 team. He was a section finalist, a 2-time first team All-County. In '97, Stephen was the most outstanding wrestler at the county tournament. He was also Journal News Scholar Athlete of the Week. And as a side note, Steve's brother Frank was also on this team, couldn't make it tonight. He was also a 2-time Section 1 champion. Steve Pregiato. James Ryan, also a team captain, 2-time All-County. He was a Section 1 champion in 1997. And as a side note, he's currently an athletic director at Port Chester School District in Westchester. Let's hear it for James Ryan. Doug Veltiti. Doug was a divisional champion. He was an all-section wrestler. He was also on the football team, a lineman of the year and captain of the football team. Doug Veltiti. Dave Visconti. Dave was an all-league wrestler, and he was a Rockland County champion in 1997. Dave Visconti. Okay, so I did mention to these gentlemen, they actually gave me a couple things they wanted me to talk about. I wrote it down in a napkin and left it in the bathroom, so I'm not going to be saying some of those things. But I did want to give them an opportunity, but I guess we'll do a group picture first. Go ahead.
No, all right.
I'm the only one who could make way.
I'll make it.
I don't know, Chris looks pretty small.
Okay, now if I can have our wrestling coaches come up and take a picture with the gentleman.
Coach Wilson, come on.
Hey, gentlemen, stay up for 1 minute. I think a couple of you wanted to say a few words. Am I correct in that? Maybe not. Oh, Coach Park is on.
I just want to say that this was a group we could take anywhere and wrestle anybody. And Andy mentioned the Brandon, Florida team. They currently have a win streak. Well, their win streak got broken. But they had a win streak of something like 482 dual meets in a row without getting beat. I know that well because the head coach was a teammate of mine. They wouldn't wrestle us at a tournament because of these guys. So, that tells you how impressive this was in wrestling. And they worked incredibly hard every day and pushed each other. We didn't really have to push them that hard. They pushed each other, so thank you.
You know, they talk about how, all our coaches were, hardworking, and I don't think they realize how much they had actually rubbed off on us as coaches as we move forward in our lives. We're constantly talking about old stories and reminiscing about good times. And like Coach said, it was a special team where we were all very competitive, no matter what we were doing. And we're all very good friends today. And from all of us to all of our coaches, I'd like to thank you for what you have provided us. I just want to add one other part also. In typical Coach Des form, at the end of the sectional tournament, I was holding the sectional plaque. And I said to Coach, I said, what do you want me to do with this? He said, I don't know, take it home. So I took it home, and it's been sitting in my drawer for 20 years. So I have it here with us tonight, and I'm going to give it back to Gooch. So Gooch, maybe you can hang it up in the hallways of the school or something. But here's our plaque.
Congratulations again, gentlemen. Good job.
There's cake. Come on.
If you're the final, let them know there's cake outside.
Okay, back to Mr. Scheibner.
I have a plaque that we're going to give you to for the school. So, Gooch, this is a plaque for this particular team. So, congratulations to the team. Thank you so much. Oh, okay. You got it. All the way up.